Okay, what's up, everyone? You're about to watch part 2 of my road to victory on the 700 supersized Sunday progressive knockout tournament. Longest tournament name in history, but there it is. Um, so yeah, this is part 2. Like I said, if you somehow are starting with this video and are really interested in going back to part 1 and starting from pretty much the beginning, or if you like to live dangerously and you want to get yourself right to the end, right to the finish, and to go to part 3, down below there should be some links, so feel free to check those out and you can get back and forth between part 1, 2, and 3 pretty quickly. But anyways, this tournament starts. We're already in the money here. Not this tournament, but this video. We're already in the money here. And we're starting at 51 places remaining, and this is going to take us all the way until we get to the final table, and maybe a couple hands in the final table. But most of the final table action is going to be, say, for video number 3. So if you want to skip right to that final table, feel free to do so. And I hope you guys enjoy. Looking forward to hearing your comments in the chat. And thanks for watching, guys. All right, with the Queen 6. Both of these guys have actually been pretty tight. So we're going to open the Queen 6. But yeah, Vegemite Kid, I don't know if I can't remember if I answered your question. I remember I read it. And then I started typing in the chat. But this is live, other than the 5-minute delay. The only downside, like, these guys have been pretty tight, so I'm not too worried about them going for a bunch of re-raises. I'm a little worried about this guy. He's going to see a big pot. He's got kind of a good stack size to go for something like that. But I still think we have to try it. We have this guy covered, and he's got a $1,246 bounty. And he's been opening quite a bit since I mean, it doesn't look like it, but he's been pretty active. So if he folds, I'm going to make a small raise. Maybe I still make a small raise. Kind of turning my hand into a bluff. This is a protection bet. I mean, it's kind of doing a lot of things. He shouldn't have many 5s here unless he has pocket 5s. Now the question is, do I barrel off and try to get like an overpair to fold? No, I don't think I rep many 5s here. I think we just try to take it to showdown and win against like ace queen. And this is kind of why I was thinking, like, if he folds, a raise was going to be a lot better. But I do think that this guy is just going to be c-betting for that size probably way too much, even though there's many players in the pot, as you can see by his pretty quick fold. But for a small price, we gave ourselves a lot of information. We got a chance to see another card to potentially hit a 3. And we didn't really lose much more than if we had just called. I guess the other option is folding, but I don't have that in my vocabulary. So now we're 14th out of 49. Oh, I'm having trouble eating this. All right, here we go. Check calling down. Oh, Oh. Gonna check raise here. I think we can get a little bit after he saw my raise on the with my 3. I think he might think that I'm doing this with like a 2 or a 7, and I think he's gonna call pretty wide. Like any of his flush draws call, probably any of 7s that were or pairs like in between the ace and the 7 that we're checking back. Probably call. Occasionally we're just gonna get owned here. Oh my god, yes, what a river. I think we bet small because I'm trying to rep like kind of a wide range here. Give him a chance to bluff. Plus, I think he's pretty weak in general. Yeah. Give him a chance to call pretty wide. I think if he rivered the flush, he's going to jam anyways. You know, we're trying to get calls by like 7x, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s, things like that. And occasionally maybe he might have a hand like King 7 with the King of Spades that he just decides to jam when I make that small bet. Probably, that hand's probably too strong to jam. Maybe he has a hand like King Queen with the King of Spades or something. It's not just over in one hand, you know. Even if you lose your stack in a cash game, you still get to reload if you want and continue to play. And you can set very, very easy stop losses for a day. For example, if you lose 3 buy-ins in a day, you quit for at least a couple hours or something like that. You know, it's a lot easier to manage your bankroll and things like that in cash games. So if you feel like you're having a lot of trouble with the tournaments, you might want to look into it. I know a lot of people don't enjoy the cash games as much because they like the idea of getting that big score. But you do want to think that your hourly, typically a really good cash game player is going to have quite a bit higher hourly rate than a tournament player. So, and if you can become a very solid winner at cash games, a lot of it is going to translate over into tournaments, helping you read hands better, helping you play in deep stack positions better, where you can apply a lot of pressure to your opponents. It's not going to help so much when you get short stacked in MTTs, but that's just a lot of memorization and study away from the tables. Not hands that are bad beats, but hands like where you had a tough decision, whether to call or to fold, or to raise, or to, you know, any tough decision. Post a bunch of hands in the forums, watch some videos, ask some questions in the videos. You know, take a couple days off and get some studying, man. Give yourself a chance to cool off a little bit. And I don't think he can have much of this unless he has a set, so I guess he can have like ace 10. Probably hands like pocket 7s, 8s, 9s call here as well. But we just got a ton of equity. This guy's so aggressive. I think we probably get 3-bet with pocket 10s. I'm sure 6s and 3s are in there. Maybe even a hand like 10-6 and 6-3, but also there's just, if he check raises here, there's just a lot of other random stuff. Would probably find a jam over the top against a guy like this. And then there were 38. And this guy has not earned a single bounty. Wait, no, he's earned 1 bounty this whole tournament. 1 min bounty back in the day. And then no more been earned since that day. If he jams here, I'll fold. Mr. Maximize. And I'm going to fold versus 3-bet as well. I think we can open and call a 3-bet. calls. I expect us to be good here quite a bit. I wish I had more time bank. I'm just going to bet kind of small and protect my hand. He can call with some worse ace-x hands for value, so that we're getting value against some of the time. I'm a little actually tempted to just check versus him because really we haven't seen him doing anything super crazy. If the turn was like a king or a 10, I might just consider turning this into a pure bluff to get 7x hands, 4x hands, 5s, things like that to fold. And obviously on an ace or a jack, I could probably bet again small for value. We get this turn that's going to be a lot better for his range than it is for my range. And he just gets to win. If he goes all in, I think we'll have to call. Fold. I mean, this is min bounty. I'll have to think about it. He's been pretty tight so far. Let's start with a check here. All right, this is a pretty good river for it, or turn for us. We rep a lot of ace, a reasonable number of ace-x when we check back the flop. So it kind of helps us that we checked it back there. On the flop, I wasn't super excited about betting because this board is quite a bit better for him than for me. So I'd rather check back, try to give myself a chance to hit a jack or a queen or a 10 or a spade where I turn some equity, or an ace, and then we can start putting some money in if he checks again, or call if he bets on a lot of those turns as well. He's probably got to be calling here pretty wide. It's a pretty big bounty. And if that's the case, maybe stick with that number of tables for a while, and then once you feel like you have that down and you're very comfortable, add another table. But you know your game better than me, right? So if you think that you're playing your A game 100% of the time when you're playing 4 tables, then play 4 tables. And we're check folding. Probably need to check raise this guy on some nice board textures where I think he's going to bluff. Looks like he's definitely not the straightforward player that I thought he was. So I'll definitely be adjusting to that. Just a couple different hands change the sample very significantly. If everyone... this is a min bounty that's shoving for 20 big blinds. I'm not going to call with king 9 here for half my stack. And he's also been very tight. I don't believe king 9 has enough equity for this size bounty to make the call, so we're just going to fold. Just going to call here. Mr. Maximize. Flop and top pair. To be honest, it's not like the best board for me to want to just like rip in stacks. I would imagine that even with like aces, kings, queens, I'm sure they're going to get it in, but when it gets raised and then re-raised and then I go all in or something like that, I think it's not a great situation for those kinds of hands. Doesn't mean I'm folding or anything. I'm just saying that probably had he bet, I think we're just calling there and not trying to raise. We don't need all that much protection versus the parts of his hands, versus the range. The parts of his range that we're ahead of, that's what I'm trying to say. 6-7, we can't be calling any jams. I don't think we want to be 3-bet shoving this hand either. We'll call him in open for sure. That's essentially a min open. I'm going to be finding a fold on this flop. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Be nice to scoop up that bounty. I need to double up a couple times before we can get it though. I'm just going to limp. Seems like he's going to be floating a ton versus my raises anyways. I want to see what he's doing when we limp, whether we can... he's going to check back parts of his range and we get to see flops for very cheap. Here we'll just limp fold. But we'll have hands in our range for sure that are limp raising, a lot of hands that are limp calling. But I don't think against him I'm going to be opening, just like open raising small blind versus big blind all that often anymore based on some of the things that I've seen. So we'll just try to have some nice balanced lines with our limps. 15th out of 30, 15th out of 29. That's daily quads up here for that guy. Ace-2, I'm going to fold in the cutoff with him on the button. Now I'm almost tempted to just 3-bet. It's a lot harder for him to play back at me against a 3-bet than it is for him to play against my open. Just going to fold in. He's been a little bit aggressive. I mean, he's not the tightest guy in the world, that's for sure. But not really any hands on him to make any reads. Alright, I am actually going to 3-bet this hand. Giving ourselves a really good price on a 3-bet. It's a hand that's going to, because it's suited and we got the potential of straight draws, it's going to play really well if he does just call, given that we're giving him such a great price. And we got some good blockers and things like that. I think it's a nice hand to occasionally throw into your 3-bet range. Not super stoked about calling it just because of this guy. Yeah, this guy's making my life miserable. This stack to my left. Oh, God. I'm almost tempted to fold here. But I just don't think we can. I was actually, when I was sizing my 4-bet, I was trying to think of a size that maybe could potentially 4-bet fold even with a hand as strong as Ace-King. Just because of how tight I've been, I might be getting more credit than I should be. But when you look at it all, and when you look at how aggressive this guy is starting to turn out to be, I think once we 4-bet there, we just can never fold. Would have been a silly fold. Silly fold. And I don't think that's being results oriented. If had he shown up with aces there, I think I would have came to the same conclusion. When you just look at the range that we're probably going to be up against. We're going to call here. Play a pot in position. I'm going to bet now. I'm not, if I have to fold to a check raise, I'm not super concerned. We can continue to barrel on a heart. We've got 2 overs to potentially get some of the time. I didn't want to bet like a third pot there because I don't want to give him size that it's just like an easy check call with like all of his ace-x hands and things like that. Yeah. Kind of expect this guy to play pretty straightforward. Trying to get calls from like ace-queen hands, ace-jack hands. I don't want to check here. I might want to give myself the option to bluff jam the river. I might set up for a triple barrel bluff here. I kind of think like queens gets it in pre-flop. So his strongest hand here is probably jack unless he's slow playing like aces or kings, but we block that. I guess he could have like pocket 2s or pocket 5s. And then on the river here, we're going to go for it. Let's hope he doesn't have a 7 or aces or pocket 2s or pocket 5s. We didn't get snap called. Okay, we're good. Pick up some chips, get pretty lucky there in the river. Not calling a jam versus either of these guys. Now we'll be willing to get it all in. Just going to start with a small bet. This is a pretty dry board. Phew, indeed. Yeah, it could have turned out pretty ugly. And we're just going to go on the river. I can't imagine this guy has many 2s. I guess he can have ace-2. He can have ace-3 here and have river to straight. But I think he has a lot of like jack-x hands and other pairs. And I can rep a miss flush draw here that's just barreling off. I think we just value bet. Can never... against some players, I think you certainly can. Probably not at the stack sizes we were at. I think we were a little bit too shallow, but at deeper stack sizes, against some players, you can certainly do it. Yeah, I think you're right, Walker Steele, with... Yes! 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 That's what we needed. $768.91. We got a bounty finally. I forget Yui's sleeping right now. She's going to be so pissed at me if I wake her up. And Jack 10 we have to open here. This guy in the big blind. Hopefully we can get a call, not a jam. I don't think we can call here with Jack 10 off suit. He folds. Okay. We're going to go for an open here. This guy hasn't played a hand yet. This guy's been playing pretty tight. I don't think this guy's going to want to play too many pots with me, given that we're both kind of like the second at the table, for kind of the similar reason that I don't want to play too many pots against him. I can see the future. I can see the future. I'm not going to check raise this guy on this board. I mean, I guess it's close because he might be interested in continuing with like a lot of his ace-x hands and we can protect a little bit, but he's also been very tight, so I'm just going to kind of respect his tightness a little bit and play a little bit straightforward and just try to get showdown. Once he checks back, I think this turn is just, I think we're just ahead so often, unless he's really slow playing. So I'm going to bet just under half pot, protect my hand here. I'm going to check call. I think this is a river that he might bluff a lot. I guess he can have ace king. So that's possible, but he can also have like, I don't know, a bunch of other things. And I don't think a hand like tens, jacks, queens types hands are checking back and then value betting this river all that often. So we're going to get owned by like ace king some of the time and maybe some slow played sets or slow play pocket aces. But even though he's tight, I think this is a board that, I think this is just a river that when I check here, he's going to bluff some of the time. So here we go. It was ace king. And maybe it's always ace king and I'm just dumb for calling there. Maybe it's like 100% ace king. But I actually don't think it is. I mean, he probably still has like ace jack there, ace queen. Though ace queen might not ever turn itself into a bluff. Ace jack might some of the time. I don't know. Giles, all right, man. Welcome back. Thank you. Let's hope we can win it. Pretend you didn't see that last call down. Might have been sick to like check jam because the strongest hand you can have here is ace king, almost all of the time. The more I think about that, I like that a lot better. And I'm kind of wishing I would have taken, like, it never even crossed my mind until just now, but I don't think ace king can call here. And I think it's always going to bet for value. So we get all of his bluffs to fold, which is fine. We win against those when we call anyways. But if we can get ace king to fold here, because we have all the twos for, I mean, we have all the sets. We have straights. We have a bunch of two pairs if I'm calling with 6-3. And I think I always go for a check raise with those hands on this river. So I think turning my hand into a bluff there would have been much better than going for a check call. And I don't think it's close. I think it's way better to go for a check raise. So I'm a little disappointed that I didn't do that. Normally I'm the first guy to think about those kind of plays. Pocket nines. Oh my god, we got two potential bounties. Let's hope we can get them. Poop. Do have to call here. Probably just fold on his flop when it's multi-way and he's c-betting, and we don't have a club. He checks. Let's get to showdown. It's a pretty reasonable turn for us. I think we do got a call now. Check back and win at showdown. The reason I folded was him, mostly. You know, on boards where you have a pretty strong range and the other player's kind of capped, you can certainly set your price a lot of the time with a donk bet, and try to get some value versus the weakest parts of his range and, you know, not get crushed versus the top of his range. I'm just tempted to c-bet this board here and expect to take it down a lot. I don't think we need a big bet. We're not trying to get a diamond to fold. His range is just going to be super, super wide here. And we've seen that he's been playing pretty straightforward in a lot of spots. So I don't really expect like floats with like ace-x with no diamond or you know, random things like that. So we're just gonna check her down here. What was that sound? Oh, I got this. We can win, check it back here and win versus some flush draws and then lose versus any pair, obviously. We had king 9. I think his range is much, much wider than that. But I think if I check back, I opened it up to just allow him to bluff, and I think he's aggressive enough to do that. But if we're the ones that are continuing the aggression, I think he's going to play pretty straightforward against that. So even though it didn't work out, I still like the play. We set ourselves a pretty good price to just try to take it down right away. Oh God. Certainly willing to get on versus him. If he jams, let's calculate my big blinds here. I have 45 big blinds. Certainly 3-betting him, and we'll have to get it all in. We're going to go to 7 big blinds. 6.5. I'm going to go 7 out of position. Yeah, with a 9-9, once this guy calls on the turn, he's very... After I call, so this guy bets and then I call, and then he calls. He's very queen and 10 heavy. I guess there could be some like pocket 8s, pocket 7s type hands that play that way. But I think he just has a lot of 10s and a lot of queens. And then when this guy bets twice, I'm still a little bit worried about his range. This is probably the bottom of what he's betting like this. You know, when he bets twice in the 2 players that have called, I think he should be pretty strong there. So we got to keep that in mind as well. If this guy calls, I'm going to 3-bet. If he folds, I'm going to call. Yeah, this guy's been so... Yeah, this guy's been too tight. I was going to 3-bet anyways, the more I think about it. We need a king on the flop to make things easy. I don't want to have to make tough decisions. I guess this is a good enough flop. I'm actually going to bet half pot and just try to get more value out of like all of his pocket pairs that are going to have a hard time folding on this flop before an overcard comes that really scares him. I'm not super concerned about an ace. I guess maybe ace queen plays this way, but I doubt it. I don't think we're getting much value versus like his pairs now that the ace comes, so we're just going to try to check it down. If he jams, it's going to be a gross spot. But yeah, like I said, I really don't think his hands are calling here that are paired. So this is kind of the scare card that I was worried about, and for his range, and we're going to check it back. I was very, very confident in my head on the river, but just opening myself up against like some of the times when he has like pocket nines and pocket sevens, or the random ace queen. I'd rather not do that when I think it's a very, very low probability that pocket jacks is going to call. I could consider betting like a quarter pot on the river or something silly, but I just don't want to open myself up to any kind of check raises or anything. So we're hoping fold, fold, jam, fold, 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 call. Open, highest guy at the table calls. Worst flop I could see for my hand. I'm just gonna check fold. That's a purr. I don't think he has many aces. Yeah, with the kings, that ace was I don't really think that guy could have had many aces in his range, but I'm going to overbet the river here. He looks like he's got a showdown value hand. I think he'd expect me to probably bet a lot of my flush draws on the flop and a lot of my, or on the turn, and a lot of my nines on the turn as well. So we're going to make small overbet. But yeah, I just don't think he's calling again with those jacks once the ace hits. His hand really looks like a 8 or a 6. Maybe pocket 10s or jacks. And I think it kind of looks like I'm trying to get him to fold. And he does fold, but I still like my size. Shoot. That was 10 big blinds there with 6-5. With his giant bounty, I just think we have a mandatory call. This guy, we're going to open here. I think 2.5x is actually plenty big against this type of player. Oh my god. We're just going to bet and hope he has something. Again, very straightforward passive player. I don't want to check and like just let him check back a queen. I want to try to build a pot for those type of hands. And if he has Jack 10, oh my god, that sucks. But we're just going to keep betting. Can't do nothing about getting cooler if he has a straight when we have our set. Thank you guys for looking into that. Yeah, I kind of had an idea that this guy might be a pretty strong reg. During the break, I might try to go through that site and. It might say I've been losing. I've been doing nothing but losing. We actually had 40% equity versus hand. Two pretty tight players. We're just going to open. Just checking it back. Trying to get the showdown. Just still trying to get the showdown. Alright, Lord Archaea, thanks a lot for hanging out today, man. Alright, now I want to value bet. Now I want to value bet. This is going to be a size that could be value betting like a 6 or 7, you might think, so we can get calls from some 10s. Just trying. Everyone's very tight here. So close. All we needed is a 5 on the river. Or 6. We tried. How much does he have? Only a min bounty? This is a pretty small bounty. Jack 8 suited would probably be close to a call. I don't think we can call with Jack 8 off. He gets a fold. That would have been so tasty to get that bounty. Pocket 9s, we're going to try and give it another shot. Probably just going to 3-bet here. There's not really a lot of reason to allow this guy to, like, just because he's playing so tight, I don't think there's a lot of reason to call to try to get him to flop to go after his bounty. And my hand could benefit from some protection. If he calls, I mean, I think we're probably going to be ahead of his range. If he jams, then I'm going to cry, and then cry some more, and then cry a little bit more, and then I'll fold. Wow. I guess we have to call. I'm not excited about it at all. But, I mean, this doesn't have to be ace-king, ace-queen type hands or, you know, occasional pocket 8 spaz very often. It's pocket aces, though. And we're on break, and we're like super short stack now. If he had any more chips, like, I don't know, this size, or even the size that I have now, I would have been able to fold pretty easily. But, $1,000 bounty. And it's 290 to call a pot of 540, so we're getting better than 2-1. I mean, if he's doing this with all his ace kings and ace queens, just that alone is going to put us well over the amount of equity need to call here. I obviously don't think it's ever going to be like, I know I said if it's a random 8 spaz and things like that here, but I just don't really see that from this guy. Maybe I could still fold, but pocket pairs are just going to do pretty well. Here, if he opens, I'm going to jam. Alright, we'll go for some limp raises. Or it'll go limp check, and then we'll get to see a flop, and go that way as well. Gonna have to fold on the turn, but I think we do have to call one when we limped with an ace high. And it's a pretty dry board, so it's gonna be a little bit harder for him to barrel. He's barreling. Giving her up here. I'm just gonna rejam with my stack size. Queens benefits from a little bit of protection, and I've got a huge bounty. I think I'm gonna get called white anyways. And I'm gonna want to be reshoving in a small blind here with a pretty wide range versus a button open. So if I start removing like aces, kings, queens, things like that from my range, then I mean, I guess we don't have to worry too much about balance in a tournament where I'll probably never see these guys again. But I think it is a little bit important. All right, with him in the big blind, and I'm willing to get on with the ace-9, and a couple players missing from the table, we're just going to open. Okay. What did he shove last time? I think I'm going to fold this, and probably I would call like ace-10 suited or better. If he had a bigger bounty, I think we would have to call, but can't do much here with my queen-7. Maybe I'll get a walk. One time. Walk one time. Limp. Let me see a free flop. Ooh, we got a chance. Nothing. We got a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. It's reasonable. Certainly be calling on the flop and then looking to potentially make some bluffs on some certain runouts if he gives it up. But I think we can be ahead at this point sometimes, and he's just kind of bluffing because we didn't raise. And we can also improve some of the time. We would like to see a very small bet here. I don't think that's the best turn card for him to just continue to bluff. So I'm going to give him credit. This is my nightmare, because I keep getting these hands that are on like the cusp, and against players like I would have happily got it all in versus him, and then this guy opens, and I'm just gonna fold. In the big blind, I would 100% be calling there to try to see a flop. In the small blind, I think it makes it much tougher to play correctly. And now we're down to 13 big blinds. It's our chance, guys. It's our chance. He open folded in a spot where he never should before. I mean, if we get a fold, marvelous. I'll take it, but obviously we're happy to call and get a chance to double up as well. We needed it. We needed it. There it is, guys. There's one. Had FU jammed, I would have called. Everybody folded. Nice. We get little chips. A couple chips. If he jams and somehow miraculously everyone folds, we'll have to call. I think if he goes all in, there's just no chance on earth that happens. It's unfortunate. We can't call who the ear's for. This is like a spot where, because this guy's bounty is so small, actually just getting like the guaranteed or almost guaranteed pay jump of $300 is probably more important than taking a lot of risk to try to go after a pretty small bounty. I play kind of selectively aggressive, I guess I'll say. What do we do here? I'm not sure. I against like someone who's not as aggressive as this guy, I think we can just fold pretty easily. I'm considering jamming here. I'm considering calling here. The downside of calling is this guy can now squeeze. This guy can call. If this guy goes all in, he gets to jam. I'm just gonna take a. It's a spot where I don't really know what the best answer is, so I'm gonna take like the conservative approach and just give it a fold. I think if I was on the button there and he was on in the hijack, I think I would just have an easy get it all in. And if it was ace-10 suited, I think I could call and be pretty comfortable playing in a pot and being pretty comfortable if like he 3-bets, just like getting it all in versus him. I guess not pretty comfortable, but it could be something I could consider, given how super aggressive he was when I played against him earlier. If everyone folds, I'm going to call with my king 6. I don't imagine everyone folds, but who knows? Yes, yes. I've been wanting that bounty for hours. Yes, let's go, people. $4,514 earned in bounties. Queen 10, I can open. Especially with this guy in the big blind. Yeah. I think with the positions, I think a fold is probably best there with the ace-10. But this guy is a little bit more aggressive, so... I don't think we can fold here. What the heck are you talking about? My tournament? Alright, that's a pretty big bet. Relative to my pot, relative to my stack size. We might have been able to fold pre-flop, but this guy's already done one thing that kind of hinted at me that he was a little bit spazzy. I also think that with this giant bounty here, he might 3-bet a little bit lighter some of the time to kind of protect himself in case this guy decides to go all in. Let's look at the price we were getting, though. Wrong hand. I mean, I guess with my stack size, we could probably consider folding a little bit tighter than what I did, but it's 120,000 to call a pot of 271,000. We don't need a lot of equity, and I think Queen 10 is going to have it against most 3-betting ranges. Is going to have more than, like, we need like, what, 28% equity or something like that. I just think Queen 10 is going to be there. Downside is when we call and have to just fold on the flop like that, we put ourselves under 30 big blinds, and we put ourselves under being able to go after his bounty. So that might be a consideration that makes us just want to fold even though we're getting such a good price. I'm not sure which is more important in that spot. Not a whole lot I can do here. I think we can rejam versus this guy though. I think a rejam becomes even better now that he calls. We're getting a pretty good price. I would prefer to have ace-3 suited, but he's just opening so wide and just folding so much. We're going to take the gamble here with our stack size and just put it in. We get it through. I do have to consider how big my bounty is. I actually didn't even think about that before I jammed. As soon as I jammed, I was like, oh crap, I got a $2,000 bounty. If I win this, yeah, it's... Well, I paid for the whole wedding already with poker. This is interesting. I haven't seen this from him. We're going to limp and try to see a flop. If he raises, then I'm likely just going to be getting out of there, but I think it's worth it to see what's up. This is very suspicious to me. I have not seen a limp from this guy yet, so concerns me slightly. Because I was concerned pre-flop, I don't think that gives me license to just bet right away when we have a the open-ended straight draw. So we're going to take our price, see what happens on the turn, and then make a decision on the river. Yeah, poker paid for my wedding. Maybe it'll pay for another one to the same woman. Not that I'm going to get married twice, but oh god. I have no idea what to do here. I think we have to call. The 5 is good for us because it reduces like his combos of like Queen 5 and Jack 5 that might have been playing this way. And I think Queen Jack probably raises some of the time, so it kind of narrows him down to like the occasional Queen 5 and Jack 5 that he still has. And then flush draws. And random bluffs. Can't call here, I guess. I'm not really sure what's the best line there. I think just taking our price and kind of making a decision on the turn has got to be best there. So clearly this guy just decided to do a random limp with a weak hand. So I will have to keep that in mind. If he opens, I'm going to jam. Now I don't know what to do if he opens though because he has me covered. It's a little bit better with him because I have him covered. I think he's going to fold a reasonable amount, and when he calls, and sometimes we get lucky, and when we get a bounty here. I don't know. I guess we're going to call. I think our King Jack is doing good enough in a single raise pot when we get to see the flop. And we're just going to jam it in on the flop versus half pot c-bet or more, and if it's checked, we're going to bet and we'll have to call it off. Half pot c-bet or less, sorry. If he pots it, color me concerned. Okay, so we'll just make a raise and we'll have to call it off. But I think a smaller raise looks stronger than like just jamming here. Especially when we had one player left to act. The downside is it puts us in a really, really awkward spot when he just calls here. But I think when he bets this size on the flop, yes, yes. He's probably just going to get it in or fold. That's a big old bounty. I don't know what to do. It's there's probably going to have to get money, like all of my stack in. If people try to really go after him. He folds? What is the world coming to? You made 90 bucks today? Dude, that's awesome. Especially with your luck. I'm surprised you didn't make negative $1 million. I guess we just got to call here and hold. Let's go, guys. Let's go, guys. Another teeny tiny bounty added to the chip stack. I'm just going to 3-bet. It's going to be a little bit hard for him to just jam over the top of me. Super wide. Let's get in there about 44% equity. Here's an 8. Here's a 7. Given our stack size, it's difficult. And we did just get a ladder as well. That's why he was folding, because we were one off the ladder. That's why. So now he's all in. So what do I do with 3-7 here? Call. I'll call. I'll fold, since he folded. So this guy, because I knocked that guy out, he laddered an extra 500. 400. That'll make it 78. I think this was... Now, there's no sizing that I can make it to where I can re-raise when he goes all in, which is unfortunate. If I min-raise, I make it 60, and he can make it... Yeah. All right, we're just going to make a small c-bet here and protect our hand with a little bit of a c-bet, and then if he calls, I guess we'll just turn a 4. Oh, he's been making videos recently. He's got a scoop series up. I guess I'll have to get back into those. Please have the best hand. This guy was kind of spat. I'm almost out of time bank. If he has pocket 7s, that's going to be so gross. I just don't think he... the problem is the flush got there now. So he might fold a king, but I don't really think so. I don't want to give him a chance to check back a king. Yeah, Grayson Ramage is a very, 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 very good player. So he's got a king, obviously. And was clearly going to check back had we checked. First out of 13, people. What's up, Rounder? Thanks for checking in, man. And thank you. Wishing me some good luck. I appreciate it. I don't understand why he's folding, man. He must be just getting, like, garbage. This isn't a hand that I want to really try to raise to isolate with. If I had any chance of like winning this bounty, I guess I do have some, then I should probably just try to bluff, but crap. Oh, that's my fault for being crappy at this game. I just kind of assumed that when this guy's been playing, like actually folding like every hand, that a lot of these type of hands weren't in his range, but turns out they were, and this guy made the correct assessment and figured he might have a small chance of winning against this random hand, and getting me out of it is a pretty big deal, obviously, when there's a $1,000 bounty on the line. Final table, guys. We did it. We did it. Final table this mo effer. Sorry guys, I won't be splurging to fly everyone out to the wedding. Full house. We do have a gut shot. I don't know much about this guy, but I'm assuming this is a board he's going to c-bet a lot. I'm going to actually probably give it a small check raise. I imagine he's going to c-bet a third pot, probably with his whole range. And if he does c-bet a third pot, we're going to go for that check raise with our gut shot. We don't rep a whole lot, but there's just so much in his range that he can't really do much with. So we're going to go for it here. And we're going to give ourselves a pretty good price to do it too. He calls and I get a turn card that just like reduces any possible combos of hands that he could think that I could have that are betting for value. Pocket fours are now reduced. Pockets like 6-4 is reduced. Ace-4 is reduced. So we're just going to check here. Payouts. Payouts, Katie. And I gave you mod. Should be ashamed. We're gonna go for it. He was tight when we saw him playing before. I guess he doesn't have much ICM pressure, considering that this guy's, they're both similar stack size. But he was tight, so we're gonna try it. He does jam. We're gonna find a fold. Just moving down slowly.